Picture this. I'm out in my pasture, the morning sun just breaking over the hills, fixing a fence post, when two black SUVs come roaring up my driveway like they're on a mission. These folks, decked out in fake badges and waving papers, thought they could roll onto my ranch and scare me into handing over my land with some made-up HOA nonsense. Retired Marine, 55 years old, living on a 60-acre spread outside of Bozeman, Montana. I've been here for a decade, and a view of the mountains that makes every sunrise feel like a gift. My wife, Kate, a former Army nurse, keeps me grounded, and our son, Ethan, swings by from college when he's not buried in books. I was out by the north fence, hammering in a new post, when I heard engines. Two SUVs, black as night, blew past my gate without so much as a wave. My marine instincts kicked in. Unannounced visitors in coordinated vehicles spell trouble. I set down my tools, kept my hands loose, and walked toward them, eyes sharp. For people got out. Led by this guy, Curtis Blaine, in a suit so shiny it looked like he'd polished it with car wax. He had a clipboard and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Behind him was a woman, Tara Voss, in a fake security uniform, badge glinting like it came from a toy store. Two others hung back, one snapping photos of my barn, the other fiddling with a tablet. "Morning, Mr. Sullivan," Curtis said. "All smooth, like we were at a business lunch. I'm with Big Sky Compliance Services. We're here to inspect your property for violations of the Pine Ridge HOA regulations." I almost laughed. Violations? HOA? I've lived here 10 years, and there's no HOA within 20 miles. I kept my voice steady, the kind of calm you use before things get ugly. "That's news to me, Curtis. This ranch isn't part of any HOA. You got proof?" His smile twitched, just a hair, and I saw Tara glance at him, like she was waiting for a cue. He handed me a sheet of paper, fancy letterhead. Gold seal, legal jargon. "Pine Ridge Community Board, established 2019, he said. "Your land's under our jurisdiction." I scanned the paper. The address was a P.O. box, the signature was a scribble, and the logo looked like it had been photocopied one too many times. I folded it, tucked it in my pocket, and said, "I'll look into this. You folks have a nice day off my property." Curtis's eyes narrowed, but he nodded. "You've got 72 hours to fix these violations, or we start seizure proceedings." Tara stepped forward, her fake badge catching the sun. "Unpermitted livestock. Substandard fencing, non-compliant barn," she listed, like she was reading a script. I noticed her hand kept twitching toward her belt, like she wanted me to think she was armed. They piled back into their SUVs and peeled out, but I caught Curtis glancing at my security camera by the porch. They were scoping me out. Kate was at the kitchen window, watching the whole thing. She's got this knack, from her nursing days, for reading people under pressure. "They're full of it," she said as I walked in. That guy's posture screamed liar. And the woman kept looking to him for approval. "They're not in charge of anything." I nodded, but my gut was churning. This wasn't just a mix-up. These people had a plan. And I wasn't about to let them steamroll my home. That night, I called an old Marine buddy, Nate Carter, who'd traded his rifle for a law degree. I told him about Curtis, Tara, and their fake papers. "Jack, this is a scam," Nate said after a pause. "There's no Pine Ridge HOA in your county." I checked. These folks are running a con, probably targeting folks who don't know their rights. He dug deeper while we talked. The Big Sky Compliance Services website was barely a month old, all stock photos and vague promises. Curtis Blaine had a rap sheet, fired from a real estate firm for fraud. Tara Voss had bounced between security gigs, one ending in a lawsuit for intimidation. "They're picking on rural landowners," Nate said. "Veterans, retirees, people they think won't fight back." That lit a fire in me. They thought I'd roll over? They were about to learn how wrong they were. Kate and I started piecing it together. She noticed how Curtis had avoided looking at the camera directly, like he knew it was there. "They're not just scamming," she said. "They're studying us." That hit hard. This wasn't about money, it was personal, calculated. Around midnight, I was checking the fences when I saw a flashlight near my barn. I moved quiet, like I was back in Fallujah, and caught Tara sneaking around, snapping photos of my cattle pens. "Evening, Tara," I said, flipping on my flashlight. She jumped like she'd been shocked, stammering about a follow-up inspection. I stepped closer. "You're trespassing. Leave, now, or we've got a problem." She bolted to a truck parked down the road, hands shaking. I knew then, they weren't just bold. They were desperate. The next morning, I found a GPS tracker taped under my mailbox. My blood ran cold. These people were watching us, tracking when Kate left for the hospital, when I was alone. I checked our security footage and saw it. Cars slowing by our gate at odd hours, someone photographing Kate's truck at work. This wasn't a scam anymore. It was stalking. Kate's face went pale when I showed her the tracker. "They know our lives, Jack," she whispered. I clenched my fists, but I forced myself to think, not react. Anger wouldn't win this. Strategy would. That night, Curtis called our house. His voice was different, less slick, more venom. "Mr. Sullivan, you're making this harder than it needs to be. Pay the fines, or things get worse for you and Kate." Mentioning her name sent a jolt through me, but I kept cool. "Curtis, you're in over your head. Back off." I hung up, but Ray stopped by an hour later, looking worried. "That Blaine guy was at the feed store, asking about you, your schedule, your military record, if you've got enemies. They're targeting you, Jack." That sealed it. This was war, and I wasn't fighting alone. 3 days later, they came back, bigger and bolder. For vehicles this time. Those SUVs plus a white van with fake decals. Curtis stepped out, all swagger. With Tara and 2 new faces, Diane Holt, a polished woman claiming to be a Pine Ridge board member, and a twitchy kid, Owen Pratt, who introduced himself as a legal assistant. Curtis waved a thick folder. "Formal seizure notice," he said. "You owe $35,000 in fines, livestock, barn, admin fees. Pay in 48 hours, or we take the land." Diane played good cop, all soft tones. "I've been through HOA fights, Mr. Sullivan. It's not worth the legal bills. We can settle for $30,000 today." Owen just stood there, hand shaking, avoiding my eyes. I took the folder, said, "I'll review this with my lawyer." Tara snapped, "Lawyers just mean more fines." Curtis cut her off, all smiles. "We're reasonable, Jack. Pay now, save the hassle." I saw Kate on the porch, hanging laundry, or so it looked. She was recording everything, her phone hidden in the clothes basket. That's my Kate, always one step ahead. After they left, Nate tore into the folder. Fake case numbers, recycled typos, laws that didn't exist. "This is amateur hour," he said, "but they've got connections. They filed a lien on your property this morning." My bank confirmed it. My accounts were frozen pending HOA dues. Then Kate got a call at work, someone claiming she was aiding a fugitive. It was fake, but it shook her. They were hitting us from every angle. The breaking point came at the grocery store. I overheard Tara telling folks I was a dangerous vet who threatened cops. I confronted her, loud enough for the aisle to hear. "You're a liar, Tara, and your scam's falling apart." She smirked, holding up her phone, recording me. I knew I'd played into her hands, but I was done playing nice. That night, my phone rang. A shaky voice, "Owen, the kid. Mr. Sullivan, they're coming tomorrow with fake badges, fake warrants. They'll pretend to arrest you to scare you into paying." He hung up, scared out of his mind. I looked out at my pasture, where my Angus cattle grazed under the moon. Each one was 1,000 pounds of muscle, trained to my whistle, 3 short blasts to move. 2 long to hold, 1 long to charge. Curtis and his crew wanted a show. They were about to get one. The next morning, I was ready. I adjusted the gate latches, just enough for a quick release, and checked my cameras. At 9 a.m., they rolled in 4 vehicles, including 2 SUVs rigged to look like cop cars, lights flashing. Curtis stepped out in a fake federal jacket, badge gleaming. Tara and 3 goons in tactical gear flanked him, one filming, another snapping photos. "Jack Sullivan," Curtis bellowed, "you're under arrest for obstructing justice and violating federal orders. Step forward, hands up." I stood on my porch, calm. "Show me the warrant, Curtis." "A real one." He fumbled, spitting nonsense about emergency powers. Tara moved closer, hand on a taser. "Comply, or it gets worse," she snarled. I reached into my pocket, slow, and pulled out my old Marine whistle. Curtis laughed. "What's that, old man?" I didn't answer. I just blew one long, sharp blast. For a moment, nothing. Then the ground shook. 40 Angus cattle, horns down, charged from the pasture like a freight train. Curtis's smirk vanished. Tara screamed, sprinting for the SUV. The goons dropped their gear, scattering like roaches. My cattle, trained like a damn platoon, surrounded the vehicles. Horns punctured tires, hooves crumpled hoods. One big bull, Brutus, pinned an SUV against a tree, glass cracking. Curtis was trapped inside, yelling into a radio no one answered. Tara climbed onto a van's roof, shaking as Brutus snorted below her. I stood there, whistle in hand, watching their operation collapse. Then I heard sirens, real ones. Sheriff Dan Walsh pulled up with 2 deputies, taking in the chaos. "Jack," he said, grinning, "call off your army." I blew 2 short blasts, and the cattle lined up, "Come as you please." The sheriff rounded up Curtis, Tara, and their crew, collecting fake badges and papers. I handed him our evidence, Kate's recordings, the GPS tracker, forged documents, Owen's tip. "This is big, Jack," Dan said. "These folks hit 10 other ranches, all veterans. They've scammed $500,000. The fallout was swift. Owen turned state's evidence, spilling everything. Curtis was running a multi-state racket, targeting veterans with land and VA benefits, betting we'd be too worn down to fight. Diane wasn't a board member. She'd been kicked out of a real HOA for stealing funds, joining Curtis for revenge. Tara was just muscle, hired for her mean streak. They bribed the clerk to file fake liens, but their sloppy work, typos, fake logos did them in. Curtis got 20 years for fraud, extortion, and impersonation. Tara got 10. Diane got probation and therapy, her grudge laid bare. The mastermind, a shady lawyer in Nevada, was extradited, facing RICO charges. The victims, folks like Mrs. Larson, who lost her savings. Or the Garcias, who nearly lost their farm, got justice. A class action suit pulled in $5 million, paying everyone back and then some. My ranch became a local legend. People drive hours to see the Cattle Justice Ranch, snapping pics with Brutus. Kate and I started a fund to help veterans fight scams, and Montana passed Sullivan's Law, cracking down on fake HOAs. Those SUVs? I bought them at auction for $500 each, gutted them, and turned them into cattle troughs. Every morning, Brutus eats from Curtis's old ride. And I can't help but grin. Standing on my porch now, Kate beside me, the mountains glowing at dusk, I feel whole. This ranch, it's more than land. It's where I rebuilt myself. Where Kate and I hold tight to what matters. Curtis thought he could break us, but he didn't count on my cattle, my wife, or the fight in me. So, what would you do if someone tried to steal your home with a fake badge and a lie? Drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. And here's the kicker. Curtis is out on parole next year. And word is he's already sniffing around new scams. Makes you wonder, how many others are out there fighting battles like this right now? Let's hear your thoughts, because this fight, it's never really over.